Question 1. 7,549 equals 7,000 plus something plus 40 plus 9. So I'll write my question out here. Now looking at my place value, I've got my units, which are my 9s. I've got my 10s, which are my 4s, which stands for 40. My 5, which is my hundreds, that's 5 hundreds. And my thousands, which is 7. So the missing value is 5, which is 500. Question 2. 456 take away 385. Make sure you get your units lined up, your tens lined up, and your hundreds lined up. Now look at our units first. We always go from right to left. 6 take away 5 is 1. 5 take away 8 we can't do, so we need to borrow from the hundreds column. So we cross out the 4 and we turn that into 3. Now we have 100 coming over from our hundreds column. Now we know that 100 is 10 tens, so we've got an extra 10 tens in the tens column. So that's 15 take away 8, 7. Our answer is 71. Question 3. Something times 233 equals 0. Now it's important to remember that anything times 0 equals 0. So our answer is 0. Question 4. We have 47.65 add 51.783. Now we can see we've got our units, we've got our tens, and next to our decimal point getting smaller is our tenths, then our hundredths, then the next column is our thousandths. Now there is nothing here, and we need to put a 0 here to act as a placeholder. Now we can add 0 plus 3 is 3, 5 plus 8 is 13, so I put my 3 and I carry the extra 1, 6 plus 7 plus 1 is 14, put my 4, then I must put my decimal point, and my 1 goes down here, then 7 plus 1 is 9, and 4 plus 5 is 9. So the answer is 99.433. Question 5. 904 take away 8. Now we look at 4 take away 8, which we can't do. So we have to look to the next column, and that is 0. And so we've got nothing to borrow there. So then we look at the 9. We can cross out the 9 and put an 8. We carry 1 to the next column. Now we've got 10 in the tens column. Cross out the 10 and put a 9. And now I've got a 1 I can put before the 4 to make 14. So 14 take away 8 is 6. And now 9 take away nothing is 9. 8 take away nothing is 8. So the answer is 896. Question 6. 84 divided by 12. Now, if you know your 12 times table, which you should do, you'll know the answer is 7. But if you struggle to remember it, you can just count up in 12s, and that will help you get there. So 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, 72, 84. And then you can just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we put 7 in our answer box. Question 7. 6 times 832. So I need to lay this out with my larger number on the top row, and my 6 goes under my units, under the 2. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 1 is 19. 6 eighths are 48, plus the 1, 49. 4992. Question 8. 12 times 3 times 10. So I know from my 3 times table, 12 times 3 is 36. Now, when I times any number by 10, I just can put a 0 on that number. So I can write 3, 6, and then add the 0. So my answer is 360. So, question 9. 326 plus something equals 380. So I'm going to turn this into a takeaway operation. So I do 380, take away 326. Now I do 0, take away 6, which I can't do. And so I cross out my 8 and I put a 7 there, and I put my 1 that I borrowed from the next column. 10 take away 6 is 4. 7 take away 2 is 5, and 3 take away 3 is 0. So my answer is 54. Question 10. 72 divided by something equals 9. That's the same as saying 9 times something equals 72. Now, if we know our 9 times table, which we should know, we know the answer is 8. Question 11. 2 out of 5, 2 fifths, times 5 sixths equals. Now, when we multiply fractions, we just need to multiply the numerators. 2 times 5 is 10, and then multiply the denominators. 5 times 6, and that's 30. Now we take our 10 over 30, that's one answer. Now I know that 10 goes into 10 and 10 goes into 30. So if they've got a shared factor, and in this case it's 10, we can divide the numerator by 10 and the denominator by 10, and that equals a third. So we've actually got two answers here, which should be in the question. Yes, we got 10 out of 30 and a third. That's correct. 540 divided by 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say to myself, well, I know that 6 times 9 is 54. So I must know that 6 times 90, because remember, if we times by 10, we just have to add a 0 on the end. So my answer is going to be 90. Question 13, long multiplication. 807 times 8. 7 eighths are 56. 8 zeros are 0. Add to the 5. 5 there. 8 times 8 is 64. So my answer is 6,456. Question 14, long multiplication. 614 times 32. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 ones are 2. 2 sixes are 12. So that's our first row, which is actually the answer to 2 times 614. Now, the next row, we're going to be looking at the 3 this time. And we know the 3 in the 32 is actually worth 30. So our next column, we are essentially working out 30 times 614. Now, to allow for the fact that we're not going to multiply every number by 30, we're going to put a 0 on the next row down. Now we can just do 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 1 is 3. Add to the 1 is 4. 3 sixes are 18. And then we just add our rows together. 8 plus 0 is 8. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. 8 plus 1 is 9. And 1. So our answer is 19,648. Now, just a tip at the end of this question, if we just have a look over here on the right, we can see that 2 plus 30 is 32. So that's how it all fits together. Question 15. 2,000 divided by 4. So this is the bus stop method. 4s into 2 we can't do, but 4s into 20 we can do. So I'm going to put my answer above the 20, above the 0 of the 20. 4s into 20 is 5. Now 4s into nothing is nothing. 4s into nothing is nothing. So our answer is 500. We could also divide 2,000 into 4, and we could say, well, half of 2,000 is 1,000. And we could do half of 1,000 is 500. So that's halving and then halving again. 2 ways to get the same answer. Question 16. 3 times 8.9. Now I'm going to lay this out like my normal multiplication grid. Now I'm just going to carry on multiplying as if the decimal point wasn't there. 3 times 9 is 27. 3 8s are 24, plus the 2, 26. Now, I've got a decimal point that's just moved 1 place value. So I'm going to just move 1 here and put my decimal point. So my answer is 26.7. I could also think to myself, well, 8.9 is nearly 9. And so I know that 9 times 3 is 27. So I know my answer's got to be nearly 27. The only place the decimal point could actually go is between the 6 and the 7 to make 26.7. Question 17. 326.8 divided by 10. Now, I know in this question my 3s are my hundreds, my 2s are my tens, my 6s are my units, and my 8s are my tenths. When we divide a number by 10, we move everything 1 place to the right. So I am going to make my 3s my tens, my 2s my units, my 6 becomes my tenths, and the 8 becomes my hundredths. So the answer is 32.68. Question 18. A third minus a ninth. Now, when you are taking away fractions, you must make sure, like with adding fractions, that your denominators are the same for both fractions so that you can easily add or take them away from each other. So in this case, I can say to myself, well, I know 3 goes into 9 and 9 goes into 9. So I can make my denominator 9 for both of these fractions. Now, the fraction on the right, it just stays a ninth. But the fraction on the left, I have multiplied the bottom by 3, the denominator by 3. So I must multiply the numerator by 3 as well. So The 1/3 becomes 3/9. They are the same equivalent fraction. Now I can do 3/9 take away 1/9, and that will equal 2/9. So I can click 2/9. Question 19. 896 divided by 7. I'm going to do the bus stop method for this. 7's into 896. 7 goes into 8 once, and I carry my remainder next to the 9. 7 goes into 19 twice, because I know 7 times 2 is 14. So I put my 2 there. Now I know 19 take away 14 is 5, so my remainder is 5. And 7's into 56 goes 8. So my answer is 128. Question 20. 1,004,235 take away 52,346. Now I recommend you do put your commas in your question when you're writing it out, because it's quite easy to lose track of your columns. Now I'm looking at my units column, and 5 take away 6 I can't do, so I'm going to borrow from the tens column. So now I've got 15 take away 6, which is 9. Now I'm on my tens column, and I have 2 take away 4, which I can't do, so I'm going to borrow from my hundreds column. Now I have 12 take away 4, which I can do, which is 8. Now 1 take away 3 in my hundreds column I can't do, so I'm going to borrow from my thousandth column. And now I've got 11 take away 3, which is 8. Now my thousands column, I've got 3 take away 2 is 1. Now my 10,000s column, I've got 0 take away 5, which I can't do, but I've got nothing in the 100,000s column to be able to borrow from. So I need to go to my million column and put 0, put my 1 in my 100,000s column, cross that out and put a 9, then put my 1 in my 10,000s column to make 10 there. So 10 take away 5 is 5, and 9. So my answer is 951,889. Question 21, I'm going to do my bus stop method again. So I've got to do 9's into 4,104. Now, 4 isn't divisible by 9, but 41 is. So I know the nearest I'm going to get to 41 is 9 times 4, which is 36. So I'm going to put 4 up here. Now I put my answer 9 times 4 below the 41, and then I'm going to take them away. So 1 take away 6 we can't do, so we borrow from the next column. So put 3 and put the 1 next to the 1 to make 11. 11 take away 6 is 5. And now I bring down the 0. So now I need to do 9's into 50. Now I know 9 times 5 is 45. So that's the closest I'm going to get to 50 in my 9 times table. So I'm going to put a 5 up here. 9 5s are 45. I'm going to take that away from the 50. 0 take away 5 we can't do. So I borrow from the 5 and put 4. Put a 1 next to the 0 to make 10. 10 take away 5 is 5. Now I bring down the 4. Now I know 6 9s are 54. So to make it neat and tidy, I put 6 9s are 54, take those away, and I get 0. So my answer is 456. Question 22. We have a sixth plus 2/3 plus 3/12. Now, when you're adding fractions, like when we take away fractions that we did in a previous question, we need to make sure that our denominators are the same for all of the fractions. Now I'm going to look at my numbers 6, 3 and 12 and think, is there a number that all of them go into? And there is, it's 12. So I'm going to make my denominators 12 for all of the fractions. Now my last fraction can stay the same because it already is 12 as the denominator. Now my first fraction, well, I've gone from 6 to 12, so I've got to multiply it by 2 because 6 times 2 is 12. So I multiply the numerator by 12 as well. So I put a 2 above the 12. Now I'm going to look at 2/3. And I'm going to look at the denominator. And 3 times 4 is 12. So I also have to multiply the numerator by 4 as well. 2 times 4 is 8. So now, how many twelfths have I got? My answer is going to be in twelfths. So I've got 2 plus 8, which is 10, plus 3, which is 13. Now that is a top-heavy fraction, which I think will give us one of our answers, but we're going to convert that into a mixed number. So I say, how many 12s go into 13? It's 1. And our remainder is 1, and then we put our denominator here, which is 1 and 1/12. So we've got two answers here, 13 twelfths and 1 and 1/12. Question 23, 17, take away 3.6. Now I need to make sure for a question like this that I line up my place values correctly. So my top row I've got 17, and my next row I've got 3.6. Now because I don't have anything in the tenths column, I need to put a 0. So I can now do my subtraction like normal. 0 take away 6 I can't do. So I cross out the 7 and put a 6 and put a 1 next to the 0 to make 10. 10 take away 6 is 4. And then I put my decimal point. 6 take away 3 is 3 and 1. So my answer is 13.4. Question 24. 2 and 3/5 plus 1 and 3/5. Okay, now I'm going to split this question up and I'm going to say, well, I've got 2 and 3/5 and 1 and 3/5. Now I know 2 plus 1 is 3, and I've got my 3/5 and my 3/5, which gives me 6/5. Now 5s into 6 goes 1, with remainder 1 over 5. 6/5 is the same as 1 and 1/5. So now if I add my 3 and my 1 and my 1/5 together, I get 4 and 1/5. Now if I convert that into a top-heavy fraction, I write 4 times 5 plus 1 divided by my denominator. So that is 4 times 5 is 20, plus 1 is 21. So I've got two answers here, 21 over 5 and 1 and 1/5. But I can see in my answer block I've only choosing 21 out of 5. Question 25. 5% of 860. Now I know my 100% is 860. So I can easily divide by 10. And so I know my 10% is 86, because when I divide by 10, I can just lose the 0. Now, I know that 5% is half of 10%. So I'm just going to divide by 2. 5% is half of 86. Now, half of 80 is 40. Half of 6 is 3. So my answer is 43. Question 26. 5/8 divided by 3. Now, I know that when I divide by 3, that is the same as multiplying by a third. So I can do 5/8 times a third. Now I can just multiply my numerators. 5 times 1 is 5. And I can multiply my denominators. 8 times 3 is 24. So my answer is 5/24. Question 27. 19% of 2,300. So again, we're going to do the same as we did before in the previous question. 100% equals 2,300. Now, I'm going to work out 10%, and I'm going to divide both sides by 10. So 10% equals 230. Now I'm going to work out 1%, and I'm going to divide by 10 again. That equals 23. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say 20% take away 1% is 19%. And I know that 10% is 230, so 20% equals 460, because that is double 230. Now I can just take away my 1%, which I worked out is 23, and that will give me my 19%. 0 take away 3 I can't do, so I cross out the 6 and put a 5, put a 1 next to the 0 to make 10. 10 take away 3 is 7, 5 take away 2 is 3, and my last number is 4, so my answer is 437. (17 into 884). So I now need to work out how many 17s fit into 884. So I'm going to think, well, let's do 17 plus 17 to work out how many 2 17s are. 7 plus 7 is 14. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus the 1 is 3. So 2 lots of 17 are 34. Now I'm going to double that to give 4 lots of 17. See if I can get close to 88. So that is 34 times 2 is 68, because 4 times 2 is 8 and 3 times 2 is 6. So I'm nearly at 88. Can I fit another 17? Well, let's do 68 plus 1 more 17. I've got 8 plus 7 is 15. 6 plus 1 is 7, plus the 1 is 8. So I'm really nearly at 88. So I've got my 4 17s making 68. And I've got my extra 17 making my 85. So I know 5 times 17 is 85. So I'm going to put my 5 above my 8 out of my 88, and I'm going to put my answer 85 down below. Now I'm going to do a takeaway. 8 take away 5 is 3. Now I bring down my 4. Now I already worked out here that 2 times 17 was 34. So now I just put my 34 down here, take away, and I get my 0. So my answer is 52. Question 29. 2 1/6 plus 2/5. Okay. Now we have a mixed number plus a regular fraction. I'm going to convert my mixed number into a top-heavy fraction. And the way I do it is I do 2 times 6, which is the denominator, and then I add on the numerator, and I divide that by the denominator of the question. So that equals 2 times 6 is 12, plus 1 gives us 13 all over 6. So I'm now left with 13 over 6 plus 2/5. Now I need to make my denominators the same. So I'm going to make my denominators 30 because I know that 6 times 5 is 30 and 5 times 6 is 30. Now remember, when we multiply the denominators by a factor, we must multiply the numerators by the same factor to keep the fractions equivalent. Now the second fraction is easy. 2 times 6 is 12, but 13 times 5 is a little bit harder. So we can just do a multiplication sum on the side here. 5 threes are 15, 5 ones are 5, plus 1 is 6. So it's 65 over 30. So now we've got 65 thirtieths plus 12 thirtieths, and that gives us 77 thirtieths. Now that's a top-heavy fraction, and I'm going to convert that into a mixed number. How many 30s fit into 77? Well, that's quite easy. I know that 2 30s are 60, and I know 77 take away 60 equals 17. So I do 17 is my remainder divided by 30. So I've got two answers here, 2 and 17 over 30 and 77 over 30. So I can check those two in the list, and that's correct. Question 30, 6,419 times 74. So our first line, we're actually doing 4 times 6,419. We're going to multiply each digit by 4. 4 nines are 36. 4 ones are 4, plus the 3 is 7. 4 fours are 16. 6 fours are 24, plus the 1 is 25. Now I can rub out these workings out to allow me room for my next line. Now the next line I need to do 70 times 6,419. Now I don't want to multiply every digit by 70, and I want to multiply every digit by 7. So to allow for the fact it is actually effectively 70, what I'm doing, I need to put a 0 on the next line down. So now I can do 7 nines are 63, 7 ones are 7, plus 6 is 13, 7 fours are 28, plus 1, 29, 6 sevens are 42, plus 2, 44. Now again, I'm going to rub out my workings out to allow for the fact that I don't need it. Now I'm just going to add up my two answers, my two rows. 6 plus 0 is 6. 7 plus 3 is 10. So I've got a 0 and I carry the 1 to the next column. 6 plus 3 plus 1 is 10 again. So I put my 0 and carry the 1 to the next column. 9 plus 1 plus 5 is 15. So I put my units here and I carry my 1 to the next column. 4 plus 2 plus 1 is 7 and 4. So my answer is 475,006. Question 31 is BODMAS, which is brackets, order, which includes indices, D, which is division, M, which is multiply, A, which is addition, and S, which is subtraction. And in maths, we must do everything in that order. So let's write out our question here. Firstly, we've got a bracket with an indices inside the bracket. And take away 12 divided by 4. So 5 squared plus 3, because we need to deal with the bracket first, as it says in BODMAS. So 5 squared is the same as 5 times 5, which is 25. It's 5 squared, which is 25. So 25 plus 3, close brackets, take away 12, divided by 4. Now 25 plus 3 is 28. Take away 12, divided by 4. Once we've solved the bracket, we don't need it anymore. Now we've got a takeaway and we've got a divide. Now in BODMAS, we know division becomes before subtraction. So we've got to do 12 divided by 4 first before we subtract. So that's 28, take away 3, as 12 divided by 4 is 3. So our answer now, finally, we do our subtraction, which is 28, take away 3 is 25. "65% of 540. So I'm going to write 100% equals 540. 10%, I just have to divide by 10. Divide the other side by 10 too. So 540 divided by 10, I can just knock off that 0 and put 54. Now I need to find 60%, so I need to multiply by 6, and that will give me 60%. So I need to multiply 54 by 6. Now let's just do this over to the side. 54 times 6. 6 fours are 24. 6 fives are 30, plus 2 is 324. So 60% of 540 is 324. Now I can easily work out 5% because I know 10% is 54. So 5% is just half of 54. So half of 50 is 25, and half of 4 is 2. So my answer is 27 for 5%. So if I just add 324 plus 27, I'll get 65%. That's me adding my 60% and my 5% together. So 7 plus 4 is 11. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus the 1 is 5. And then I've got my 3. So my answer is 351. Question 33. 3 1/3 times 12. Now I've got a mixed number on the left-hand side, which I want to convert to a top-heavy fraction. So I do 3 times 3 plus 1 divided by the denominator, and then multiply that by 12. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 divided by 3 times 12. 9 plus 1 is 10, divided by 3. You can't even whisper. So question 33, 3 1/3 times 12. So I have a mixed number on the left-hand side, which I'm going to convert to a top-heavy fraction. So I go 3 times 3 plus 1, and I keep my denominator the same, and then multiply that by 12. So 3 3s are 9. So 9 plus 1 is 10. So I've got 10 divided by 3 times 12. Now I know 10 times 12 is 120 over 3. Now I know 120 divided by 3. Let's just do the maths here, just in case you forget, because you can do that in your head. 3s into 12 is 4, with the 0, so our answer is 40. Question 34. 45s into 8,190. So how many 45s fit into 81? I'm just going to check and see if I can fit 2 lots of 45s into 81. Now, 5 plus 5 is 10. 4 plus 4 is 8, plus the 1 is 9. Now it's 90. That is 2 lots of 45. Now always write down how many lots in a circle next to your workings out, because that will help you keep track. further down the question. So I know that only one lot of 45 fit into 81. So I'm going to write my 45 under the 81. Now I take away 45 from 81. So 11 take away 5 is 6. 7 take away 4 is 3. And I bring down the 9. Now I need to work out how many 45s fit into 369. Now I'm going to work out how many are 4 45s. That is just 90 plus 90. So that is 180. 9 plus 9 is 18. And then I can add my 0 on. That's still not up to 369. So let's add on. I'm going to cross this out now because I don't need that block. I've worked out that 4 lots of 45 is 180. So now I'm going to add on another block of 2. And see, that will give me 6 blocks of 45. So 0 plus 0 is 0. 8 plus 9 is 17. Carry my 1, and I've got 270. Now so that was my 6 blocks of 45. I'm crossing out the other blocks because I don't need them anymore because I've now worked out that 6 times 45 is 270. So can I add on another block of 2? Can I add on another lot of 90? So that's 0 plus 0, 0. 9 plus 7 is 16. 2 plus 1 is 3. Wow, that's really nearly 369. So that was 8 lots of 45 I got to. So I put my 8 above the 9 and I worked out that 8 lots of 45 is 360. Now I take them away from each other. 9 take away 0 is 9. 6 take away 6 is 0. 3 take away 3 is 0. Now I bring my 0 down. Now I know that 2 lots of 45 is 90. So I put my 2 and I can say 45 times 2 is 90. Do my takeaway and I've got my lovely 0. My answer is 182. 3/8 times 240. So what I'm firstly going to do is I'm going to multiply my numerators together. So I have 240 times 3. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 4s are 12. 3 2s are 6, plus 1 is 7. So now I have 720 all over 8. So now I need to do 720 divided by 8. So let me do my bus stop method. 8's into 72. You should know your 8 times table, and the answer is 9. Then you put your 0, so the answer is 90. But just a quick recap here. If you don't remember your 8 times table, you could remember that 8 times 10 equals 80. And you know that 8 from 80 is 72. So that is 8 times 9. And you can remind yourself what 8 times 9 is by doing the method that way. Anyway, the answer to this question is 90. So question 36. 4 3/7 take away 1 1/6. So I'm going to convert those mixed numbers into top-heavy fractions. So what I need to do is take the whole, multiply it by the denominator, then add the numerator, and divide it all by the denominator that I already have. I'm going to do the same method for the other side. I take my whole, which is 1, multiply by the denominator, which is 6, and then I add the 1, which is the numerator, and put it all over 6. So now I know that 4 times 7 is 28. So that's 28 plus 3 over 7. Take away, and I do the same thing again on the other side, on the right-hand fraction, which is 1 times 6 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So that's 7 over 6. So now I have 31 over 7, take away 7 over 6. Now again, with fractions, I always must, when I'm adding or taking away fractions, I must keep the denominators the same. So what I'm going to do is, I know that 7 times 6 is 42. And that's an easy way to choose a denominator for your fractions. So I'm going to put 42 underneath to make some new fractions that are equivalent. Now I know that 7 times 6 is 42. So I need to multiply the numerator by 6. On the next fraction, 7 over 6, I multiply 6 by 7 to get 42. So I need to multiply the numerator by 7. Now I know that 7 times 7 is 49. That's easy to do. Slightly harder to do 31 times 6. So I'm actually going to do that over here. I'm not going to do it in my head. 1 times 6 is 6. 6 threes are 18. So that's 186. So now I have 186 take away 49 on the. So I do 186 take away 49 because I've got 186 42ths take away 49 42ths. So let's see how many 42ths I've got. 6 take away 9 I can't do. I'm going to borrow. 16 take away 9 is 7. 7 take away 4 is 3. And 1 I've got left. So my answer is 137 over 42. Now, how many 42s fit into 137? Let's work that out. So 42, let's see, 42 times 4. 4 2s are 8, 4 4s are 16. That's too many. So I'm going to try a different amount. Let's do 42 times 3. 3 2s are 6, 3 4s are 12, so that's 126. Yes, that's near 137. So I do 137, take away 126 to find my remainder, because I've found out I've got 3 wholes, but I need my remainder. 7 take away 6 is 1, 3 take away 2 is 1, so my remainder is 11 out of 42. So I've got 2 answers here, 3 and 11 out of 42, or 137 out of 42. So I can select 137 out of 42 and 3 1/11 out of 42. That is correct.